Hello team. Have you ever tried photographing mushrooms on the woodland floor only to find it's way too dark? Too dark for you to capture the details that you want. So today we're going to take it to the next level. After all the love on last week's video of me going out exploring the woodland floor taking mushroom photos, I decided to take it one step further and bring out my head torches and show you how I can use directional light to create depth, texture, show you more of the mushroom's details on the woodland floor. So it's super simple really. You can use a torch on your phone or any kind of flashlight torch, it doesn't really matter. I've got two head torches that I use, so I can place them either side, and these lights I can use two different functions of how bright it is. So it's super useful for playing around on the woodland floor and seeing how much light you need to add on your subject. So flat light can just make mushrooms look, well, flat, just in the darkness. And just by adding that light at an angle, you can create shadows, you can show more detail, but you can also add those angles, show the curves, show the textures. It's kind of like painting on the forest floor with that light. So yeah, we're heading out now with the Fujifilm X-T5, the 30mm macro lens and the two lights. So let me show you what this looks like. So as usual, the Fujifilm X-T5 set up really simple, just with the 30mm macro lens. And then these are my trusty head torches. So yeah, they have a strong light function. I can dial that down to either of those. Don't need the flashing, don't need the red function, so we'll scrap that. But the main 2 points are how we can use this directional light to flood the light on the forest floor when it's too dark, but also adding extra light to show in the curves and textures of those mushrooms. So come on, let's go and experiment and see what we can do with this. So straight away I found the mushroom right down here, low down, in the dark of course. So even just having one light on this directionally shooting at it is going to be so much more beneficial into the terms of being able to see it, but also not having to push my ISO up super high because it's so dark or compromise on any of the settings. So just seeing what this looks like in the back of the camera, hopefully you can see that the mushroom's now visible more so than it would have been just in the darkness. So yeah, I'm going to take a few shots and see what we think of this. So the additional benefit of this means not compromising on settings, because I don't have to shoot with an incredibly shallow depth of field. I'm shooting at f8, which means I can now keep the whole mushroom in focus really. This is at 60th of a second. My ISO is 500, so I'm happy with that. It's not too high. So that's the other benefit of having a light, is shedding that light on your subject, that you don't have to compromise on settings. So here I'm just using one light and I'm letting it highlight this little mushroom here. So it's just a little extra light to highlight it from beneath, because we've got enough light behind. It's more just trying to channel that light that's going to come up from underneath for the mushrooms. And there's something we can shoot up close and something further back as well, just to get some context of the woodland and the scenery. And here we've got a really tiny mushroom, so I've decided to go for two lights from the head torches. So we're highlighting it from either side, and it's really making the mushroom glow. So we'll see what impact that has. And in fact, this lighting is so intense that it's so dark around it and really making that mushroom stand out. And in fact, that was a bit too intense, so I've just dialed down the light now. You can turn these down to adjustable levels, which makes the subject look much nicer, not as blown out and more prominent against the shadow, but kind of blending the light and dark a little bit more. So yeah, perfect. So this is super fun this time of year because there are mushrooms everywhere. You only have to go outside and start looking for them. So I found another one under here. Now again, just that one giving that side light means that I can highlight it. And as you can see from this composition here on the back of my screen, I'm framing this up, giving context to where the mushroom is. So we've got this whole backdrop behind where you can see the woodland behind the mushroom. So I think you can shoot up close and also shoot with a wider context of your scene, which is really nice. It's just so cool this time of year, because you just need to find all these fallen branches, take a look in any nooks and crannies. You can normally find something interesting. So yeah, I'm going to try and put the light under here and see what we can create. So it actually looks quite spooky under there in my opinion. It's not a very clean composition, so yeah, I don't think it's amazing, but it's still fun to experiment, and that's part of the point of this, isn't it? Playing around with your creativity and being able to use lights to highlight different subjects. Some super cool collections down here, so I might try and do something with some of these. So yeah, these look pretty cool. A few groups going along. I'm sure we can create something nice out of this, and something like this, like the backdrop's really clean, the foreground's really clean. It's a really nice composition. So here we go, this is what I've settled on. So this is the group of mushrooms that I'm photographing. We've got the lights a fair distance away because I don't want the light to be too intense on them. And then this is what we're looking at the back of the camera. So yeah, let's see how these shots come out. Yeah, absolutely awesome. I'm really happy with that. So in terms of getting these kind of shots, it is all about a clean composition for me to really highlight the subject. So this is the kind of thing that I get really excited about. And the lights have just given it that extra light that it needs. So in terms of like compositional advice, I guess that kind of shot there is exactly what I'd be looking for, because you've got this nice clean low angle, the foreground's nice, the background's nice. You know, you can go for rule of thirds, negative space, any layering, textures from front to back of the scene. Anything close up with mushrooms. I love a nice clean tidy scene, and you know, whether you go up close or whether you include some context of leaves or moss or the wider view of the forest behind. I think I see the forest floor as a miniature landscape, so yeah, it is an intimate landscape. Using my lights, I can guide that in to show the viewer's eye into the scene from front to back, hoping it's nice and clean and tidy and the composition's good, but those lights really highlight the mushrooms. So yeah, super happy with that one. So let's carry on and see what else we can get. So I haven't had to move far to find the next point of interest, and it is this little mushroom sticking out through the leaves. So it's not just in the fallen bits of tree and bark, you also tend to find them growing out of the leaves too, which is amazing. So yeah, just using this light here to really highlight the subject, and yeah, this is kind of what the shot's looking like. So yeah, nice and bright mushroom, clean background, nice foreground and nice leaves around it too. So yeah, it works really well. And same again, right next to the other one, we've got this group growing here out of the leaves. And again, you can see how this composition's kind of looking, with them all really central, nicely lit, clean background, lovely leaves around them. So yeah, compositional choices are really important in the woodland, because as I mentioned in my last video, you know, the woodland is chaotic, it's messy. So I really love to try and frame things up with a nice clean, simple scene. It's calming, it's simple, and I just think it looks good that way. So yeah, this really works for me. So I've just come across another mushroom, but we're on the edge of the woodlands, so just to show the direction I choose. Now this side is really bright, so if I'm shooting towards that, it's way too bright on the camera to get this mushroom. So I'll be thinking about background, so even if we just move around this way slightly and we've got more of the forest behind, the composition is going to work out so much nicer. So you've got a nicer backdrop and it's not blown out. And something else to highlight about composition, I really don't know how well the back of the screen's showing up now, but because I've got leaves right in front of the lens and we've got the background quite far off and it's fairly shallow depth of field, you've got this really nice effect of a soft foreground and a soft background. Yeah, which gives a really, really nice effect. And it's not that I'm saying you need additional lighting in all these circumstances, because look at this one, the light behind it and on it is perfectly fine. So there's no issues here for me to shoot in this respect, and I don't need lighting. So it depends on each individual circumstance, if I'm honest. And I just feel like bringing out a headlight with you, or a phone torch, like how simple is that? It makes it so easy so that when you are exploring the woodland on a darker day and the wooden floor is in shadow, you can add that light to your subject. So like I say, I'm not saying you need it every time, but what a simple setup that you can take out with you and have really, really good results from it. And have you considered top-down lighting too? So I've just set up my camera here so hopefully you can see what I'm looking at with this little mushroom just in front. So my plan is to show the light top down. If you can see the impact that this has on the photograph. Just lighting up the cap there. Really, really nice effect. So another top tip of where to find them is looking on the trees that have all the moss growing on them. So as you can see from this guy, we've got mushrooms all over. So I've popped the torch down here just to give some light from kind of underneath for this guy to get some shots. And I have to be honest, like, I love the photography element of it, but also the joy comes from discovering them. Because once you start seeing them, you just see them everywhere and you just need to train your eye. But yeah, these mossy trees are normally abundant in these tiny, tiny mushrooms, which are the ones that I love to photograph. So yeah, that is where most of the joy comes from, to be honest. Look at these guys. Super hairy and mould. So yeah, I'm just going to place the light again just somewhere underneath to really highlight this. And then hopefully, because this area is very dark as you can see from the back of my screen, so hopefully we can highlight them enough to get a good shot. So directional lighting can be an absolute game changer for woodland photography. 2 lights, some experimentation, and are willing to get creative, it can just take your shots from flat to cinematic and just take it up a notch altogether. So I hope you've enjoyed that insight into how I use side lighting from my head torches, and I hope this inspires you to get out and experiment today out in your woodland. So yeah, massive thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have fun out experimenting with your photography. Yeah, thanks guys, see you on the next one.